to my channel. My name is Talu Nation. Guys, I've missed you so much. You don't even understand. Like, I've been up and down for like the past 5 to 6 weeks. Guys, like we all know the saying, you cannot pour from an empty glass. So I've been filling myself in. I've been learning a lot of stuff, and now I feel like the wisdom is overflowing, okay? So I'm like, hey, let me not forget about my friends on YouTube. Let me go tell them some of the things that I've learned. And one thing I've been doing this year is job hunting, right? And I've gone to several interviews. I've gone to 3 interviews to be specific. And I passed 2 of those interviews, and I did not pass 1 interview. Guys, it was sad that I didn't pass it, but I learned from my mistakes. So I know what it means to pass an interview and what it means to not pass an interview, and I know the reasons that can cause you to pass and to fail an interview. And I'm actually sharing interview tips for both white collar jobs and blue collar jobs. So what's a white collar job? A white collar job, I don't know the exact definition, but I take it as a job that's in the corporate field. Accounts, being a lawyer, I don't know, like these corporate jobs, right? Like doctors, whatever. I don't even know if doctors get interviews, but yeah, anyway. Yeah, so those are white collar jobs. And blue collar jobs are mostly things to do with your hands, like crafts. So like you guys know, I'm also a nail tech. So being a nail tech, hairdressing, carpentry, yeah, those are blue collar jobs, right? So I went to an interview for nails, and I've also gone to corporate interviews for being an intern as a lawyer, because yeah, guys know your girl is a graduate, a lawyer. If you missed my graduation vlog, then you got to watch that, because that stuff was amazing. Okay. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the tips of interviewing. Okay, so tip number 1 when it comes to interviews, the first thing is getting the interview. If you don't get the interview in the first place, then these tips are going to be useless. So what do you do to make sure that you get the interview? Guys, if you have never gotten an interview before, you've been applying for jobs end on end, you've been applying, and you have never gotten an interview, I'm going to break it to you. The good news is I'm here to tell you what you've been doing wrong, okay? So most likely your CV is not compelling. If your CV is compelling, trust and believe you are going to get the interview. So the first thing you should do is work on your CV. If you guys want me to have a whole other video just talking about a CV, the format, how to write it there, how to write your application letter, please let me know in the comment section, because guys, I'm here to just tell you all about it. Like I said, we are not leaving anyone behind in 2021. He who has ears is going to listen, okay? So we're here to share information, yeah? Guys, if you don't know what a CV means, it's a curriculum vitae. That's what it stands for. Or in other countries, they call it a resume. So depending on where you are, CV, resume, for us in Zambia, we call it a CV, okay? So guys, on your CV, make sure that at the top there, you write your name in big block letters, like with a ridiculous font size, maybe font size 22 or 34 or something, and it's blocked. Sometimes you can even underline, just depending on how it's going to look, right? So you can make sure you do that. And another tip for your CV, put your picture on your CV. If you're applying for a corporate job, put a picture that's more corporate, maybe you in a suit or just you in like a formal outlook and stuff like that, right? If you're applying for a blue collar job, you can put maybe a fancy picture. Depending on what you're applying for, you're supposed to make sure your CV is following in that pattern. So like for me, when I was applying for the nail, when I was going for the nail interview, when I was applying for the nail job, right? Since I already told you I'm a nail tech, so I have a separate CV. My nail tech CV is completely different from my lawyer intern CV. When you look at my corporate CV, there I'm wearing like a formal shirt, and the things I put, the hobbies I have are corporate related. Guys, I'm not trying to lie or anything. All the hobbies I've put both of those CVs are my hobbies. But then I know that some are more in line with the job that I'm applying for. So twist and turn your CV based on what you're applying for. Even if they are both corporate jobs, maybe you're applying to this company and this company, and you can tell that, okay, this kind of hobbies won't really align with this kind of corporate job, even if they are both corporate jobs. Guys, just be smart about these things. So even when you're putting your strengths, you put the strengths that are in line with that job. So on my CV for nails, I was putting things like my strength is that I'm good at communicating, I'm patient with clients, I'm gentle when handling clients, because that's what being a nail tech requires, right? It requires you to be gentle and patient, and also it requires you to have good communication skills, because people come to the nail salon like with their burdens, they want to talk to you about stuff, people start talking about their husbands, their children, and you just be like, oh my goodness. So when you're applying for a nail tech job, a blue collar job, you understand like, what does this require? Are you a hairdresser? Are you a carpenter? Say like, what does this require? Does it need more energy? You say, I'm a very energetic person. Maybe for a carpenter you have to say something like that. So just depending on what that job requires, that's what you put there. But then when you look at my corporate CV, I'm saying things like I'm good at Microsoft Word, I'm good at Microsoft Excel, I'm good at Outlook, I'm good at planning, I'm a team leader. Like, those are the things I'm saying for my corporate application. But I'm still me, and I'm not lying. I have all those qualities within me, but then the ones that I'm going to highlight on my CV for a particular job are different. That's enough about the CV for today. If you want me to say more about the CV, I will be glad to do that. Just tell me in the comments. So now you have gotten the interview, right? The day is coming. They call you, hey, we received your CV. You've been invited for an interview on Monday next week or something like that, right? Monday, 12 hours sharp. Hey, oh my goodness. Now you're there. What do you do? Number one, you need to research. Make sure you research. Go back to the company's website, look at it all over again. Remember some people's faces, some people's names, especially like the bosses there. Remember their names, remember their faces, just in case you run into them on that day, or just in case they are the ones interviewing you. It will give you points when you're in the interview and you mention the person's name. Of course, they are going to introduce themselves when you enter the place. They'll be like, this is Mr. Who, Mrs. Who, Mr. Who, whatever, the interviewers, right? But then, trust me, on that day, you're going to have so much nerves that if you've never heard someone's name before, you're going to forget it. You just be like, yeah. So if you go to their website, you read their names, you read their faces, you know them in advance, like, oh, this man is this, this is his name, this is her name, whatever. So when you go to the interview and you meet those people, you can easily mention their names because you knew them before. So guys, research. Also find out, does this interview require you to write a test? If there's going to be a test, an aptitude test, then make sure you study for that test. Okay? And guys, YouTube has so many videos that you can watch about interview questions and how to answer them. So you can just go to YouTube, of course, after watching my video, right? Yeah, you go, you find interview question videos, you watch them, just pay attention, listen, practice. Write down some answers that you think these are good answers. Write them down. Write the question, write the answer. Practice. Sit in the mirror, you practice so that you can see your facial expressions, okay? You don't want to be answering, you're like, my hobbies are, or my strengths are. No. Practice while you're seated upright with a smile on your face and you're calm. Because, guys, if you don't practice, you're going to be nervous. Also, you can, if you know someone who works at the place that you are interviewing for, you can ask them, like, what should I expect? Okay? Because probably that person already went through the interview process of that company and they can give you some pointers. However, caution on this one. I've seen, there was a time when I was applying for jobs, there were some job adverts that were specifically saying, don't contact anyone who works at this company. Like, they would say that, like, if we find out that you contacted anyone who works here, that would disqualify you. So be careful. Some companies don't like that process of you asking people who work there. Okay? But if they don't really say anything, or if it's free to ask, then go ahead and ask, because that's going to give you an advantage. While you're preparing, the next tip is your mindset. The mindset you should have when going to an interview is, I'm already good on paper. Okay? Just know, for them to call you for the interview, just know that your CV is right. Just know that. You should know that on paper you've already passed this. That's the mindset you should have for them to call you. Trust me, maybe they have 50 or 500 applications and they've picked you to come for an interview. Then it means your CV stood out. So on paper, you've already passed. The only thing remaining is to meet you and match your real being to your paper being. Okay, if that makes sense, guys. They meet you physically to prove if really the things you've written are really who you are. Okay, that's all an interview is about. It's just proving what they've already seen. Now, fast forward, it's Monday morning, interview day. Your interview is at 12 hours, right? So what do you do on that day? That day, make sure you wake up early, eat breakfast, pray. Guys, prayer is a very huge part of this. Trust me. Like, I can't even emphasize this enough. I think this maybe is even the biggest point, because even as you are sending the CV, you should even pray about it, because guys, there are so many forces in this world. You'll be there thinking you sent your application. Can't you made a mistake? You sent it to someone else, or you didn't even send. Things happen, guys. Prayer. So before, even while you're typing your letters, make sure you're praying about those things. While you're sending, you pray, and on the interview day, you pray. Okay? So in the morning, you pray about it. Just, oh God, please, this is the day I've been waiting for. It's finally here. You give just a good prayer, right? Okay. Then you go back to the things. Remember the time I told you to research? So now you get your paper out, the one that you already wrote, the questions that you're expecting, and the answers that you are going to give. Or if there's an aptitude test, whatever you were studying, whatever topics you were studying, you get that thing and start reading. You read, you practice, you read, you say them, okay? Then 2 hours before the time to go, like they said your interview is at 12 hours, so 10 hours, start off going. No matter how close that place is, or how far, if it's further than 2 hours, then please even go earlier. Okay? But then if it's at least close enough, or maybe you even know you can get there in 30 minutes, just go 2 hours before. I'm telling you. Go 2 hours before, because guys, I'm telling you, when something good is about to happen in your life, you will even be surprised, like, why are things happening like this? That day, there will just be traffic from nowhere that you can't even explain. People will just provoke you on the way. You can't even explain. You'll be like, I pass here every day. How come today there's traffic? You cannot explain it. That's why I'm telling you, pray. And then go early, 2 hours before, so that in case someone tries you on the way, you've got time to calm down. In case there's traffic, you still have time to get there. Just in case of anything, you're going to be there on time. And also, you're also going to paint a good picture to the interviewers, like, oh, this person is time conscious. And then you may even find you get there and maybe someone else is late for their interview, and they'll interview you instead. Now you've gotten to the interview. It's your turn to interview. You walk into the office, you find a panel of interviewers. Oh my goodness. That is intimidating. For a corporate job, it's mostly just questions. They're asking you, okay, what are your strengths? What are your hobbies? Okay, what value do you think you're going to bring to our company? What are your goals? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Like, guys, they ask you questions like that. These are simple questions, right? But I don't know what's with the atmosphere in the interview room that just makes you freeze. Like, you'll be there thinking in your mind, like, I planned an answer for this question. Why is my mouth not talking? Guys, it's not easy. Anyway, but just try. If you practiced enough, you're going to start speaking. Like, your mind will just blurt things out and they'll be fine. And that's exactly what happened to me. Like, I was there like, oh my God, about to freeze, but I just feel my mouth starts talking. I'm there like, oh, okay, I guess this is it, right? Yeah, and I'll just go with it. I'm like, no, focus. Like, in my mind, I'll just tell myself, focus. But then I'll be there speaking and whatever. Guys, it's a very interesting experience, and yeah, it teaches you a lot, but it's very much doable. Don't be scared of interviews, okay? Interviews are just part of the process of getting a job, okay? So if you want to be employed, just be prepared. Also, while you're answering the question, keep eye contact with the person who asked you the question. So if a person asks you, you turn there, you answer them, you're done. You say, oh, thank you very much, Mrs. whatever, or Mr. whatever, whoever has asked you the question. If you know their name, that's going to give you A+. Yeah. So if a person asks you a question, maybe they're like, okay, so Chitalu, what are your strengths? Then you look at them, you're like, oh, thank you very much, Miss Chewe. My strengths are blah, 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 right? Like, it just shows that, oh, so this girl, she knows us. Like, yeah, okay. Those are the things that will give you points. That's the way you stand out. So your CV already stood out for you. Now you are proving that that CV is really who you are. You are here to stand out. Guys, are you understanding what I'm saying here? Are you listening to what I'm preaching here? Okay? Somebody say amen. Okay. Jokes aside. And guys, just be confident. The way you sit, don't be like sitting like this, or sit up, right? Or maybe if you're standing, sometimes in the interview, you stand while the interviewers are seated. So whatever they tell you to do, just be composed. Be composed. And then while you're there, don't be too expressive with your hands. No, because I think that's not good. Try to be composed. You can hold your hands. Maybe you can hold your hands like that. Like you just hold them together like that. Or maybe if you have a pen, okay, I don't have a pen near me, but I have the scissors. So maybe, if, just example, this is a pen. You can just hold the pen like on two ends. Then you're talking, okay, my strengths are this, blah, 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 blah. My hobbies are this and this, like that, okay? That's how you go. Don't be like, okay, my hobbies are shiny, whatever. No, my strength, no. Don't do that. Interview. Like when you reach the end, either they'll ask you, do you have any questions for us? Or they'll tell you, okay, that's the end of the interview, whatever. Whichever way it comes, if they don't ask you, do you have questions? You ask them, can I ask you a question? Or can I ask you 2 questions? Or whatever number of questions. But don't ask too many questions, because they are there to interview you and not you to interview them. But you asking a question or 2 questions is going to show that you also want to find out something about them. Because all you know about them is what you've seen on their website. That's if they even have one. Okay? But you asking is going to show that you are interested. Maybe there's something you saw on their website that didn't really make sense to you. You can ask. Or you can ask a question like, okay, so if I was to get this job, what are some of the things that you cannot tolerate, that you just won't tolerate from an employee at this place? Or you can ask, what kind of assignments would I be expected to do? Or maybe what would I be expected to know in the first 1 month of working here? But then, guys, I have this question, because even I don't know the answer to this, okay? Guys, we're all here to learn. Asking the question of how much will I get paid? Or how much is the salary? That question is a question that almost everyone wants to know. Like, you want to know how much you're getting paid for this, how much you would start getting paid if you were to start working here. But then that question again can make you look like you're just all about the money, right? But the fact is that we are all about the money. So it's a bit tricky. I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, can you ask how much will I be getting paid? I don't know. For me, I've never had the guts to ask that question. But then that question, I wish I asked it. There's one interview I went for and I wish I asked that question, because I found out that they were not paying me anything. Like, it was a pro bono thing. I was so upset, and by the time I found out I had already signed the contract, it was bad. It was so bad, like, yeah. And then now, when we come to interviewing for a blue-collar job, right? So when we're interviewing for that, the day comes, you dress up also appropriately based on the job. If you're applying for a job for maybe being a makeup artist, why would you go there in a suit? A makeup artist in a suit? Maybe a yellow suit, yeah, but not like a black suit. What? That would just be weird. Like, no. Dress up appropriately for the job that you're applying for. You can even wear jeans, like makeup artist, nail artist. You can even wear jeans. Just dress up nicely, like put some makeup on. Yeah. Even for a corporate job, you can also put some makeup, but put like natural colors. Brown lipstick. If you want to put eyeshadow, brown. One thing I believe is that when it comes to crafts like makeup, nails, whatever, dress up in a way that's already showing that this is what you do. Okay, so if you're a makeup artist, do your makeup in a way that they'll see first. Just by looking at you, they'll know this is a makeup artist. If you're a nail tech, you make sure you're going there with full nails, glitter, what, okay? So the moment they'll see you, boom, they'll know, oh, this is the nail tech, okay? Like that. And other things, guys, apply this knowledge to your own thing, the thing that you do. One thing I'll recommend for a blue-collar job that requires you to use tools. For example, I'll use myself an example. I went for this nail interview, right? Nail tech interview. So in that interview, it's a practical interview because you have to show them that you can do nails. They have to see. Yes, I had nails on me, but I have to show them how I'm doing it. So either they'll bring a person, maybe one of the people already work in the salon, or they'll give you a dummy hand to practice, to show them. So they'll give you acrylic and acrylic liquid, acrylic powder, acrylic liquid, whatever, just different things, nail polishes. Then they'll give you time. Maybe they'll say 1 hour, maybe they'll say 2 hours, show us. Yeah, so you're there, you do the stuff, you file them, you're done. You show them, oh, this is what I've done, right? But in my experience, guys, products are different. Yes, it's acrylic powder. Yes, it's acrylic liquid. But the brand matters. Some acrylic powders and liquids, they dry faster. Some are more runny. They take longer to dry. So it just depends. So my advice is, if you have to use tools for your interview, for your blue-collar job interview, go with your own tools for the interview. Go with the tools that you are already used with. Go with the products that you are already used with. That interview that I went for nails, they told me, don't come with anything. We have everything here. They had their brushes, acrylic powders, acrylic liquids, glitters. They had everything there. I thought it was a good thing. I went there with my bare hands and I had to use a whole new brush that I've never touched before in my hand. It was too big for me, first of all. The acrylic liquid was, I don't know if it was the liquid or the powder, but it was not drying up fast. That was not the product I was used to. Products I have that I've been using, I know how they work. I know how much time it takes. I know how much acrylic liquid, and I know my brushes. I know that, oh, this brush picks up this brush does this. So I was there. So first of all, it's like I'm learning the instruments, I'm learning the tools. I'm like, oh my god, this brush is too big. I'm looking at the acrylic liquid, I'm looking at the acrylic powder. Like, it was a total mess. I tried my best, but I wish I went with my own products. I wish I went with my own tools. So if you're a painter or whatever, at least go with your own brush that you're used with, or go with your own brand of paints that you're used with, just to, for that day, just to show like, okay, I can do this. Then if they hire you, then you can learn their products that they want you to be using, okay? But then at least you've shown them your craft. You've shown them that you're capable of doing this thing, okay? So like I've told you, so just depends on your kind of craft. If it's one, it doesn't matter, maybe plating hair, maybe it doesn't really matter that you go with your own comb. Yeah, maybe that's fine. But then I'm just giving an example from my own experience. And because of that, guys, I did not pass that interview. I didn't. And I knew I wasn't going to pass because I could see, I was like, oh my goodness, this is a disaster. It was bad, I tell you. It was horrible. Eish. Yeah, but I just laugh about it. We live and we learn, right? Yeah, so that was my experience with blue-collar job interview, and those are my tips on that. Okay, guys, I hope you guys really enjoyed this session, and I hope you guys learned at least 4 or 5 things from all that I've talked about here. And until next time, guys, continue loving yourselves. Mwah.